The prodigal son has returned, and what a debut it was for Dan Klomp, making his return to Cavalry, a true Cinderella story, scoring in the 90+7 minute, guys, to give Cavalry a 5-4 win over Vancouver. You get a goal. You get a goal. Everyone gets a goal here. But before we get into that, what does that, before we get into Dan Klomp in particular, what does that win mean for Cavalry? And was that the wildest CPL game you've ever witnessed, Jordan?
It was the wildest CPL game I've ever witnessed. I played in now probably the third wildest back in 2021, the Labor Day Classic. That's number 3 now. It's dropped. And the true CPLers know that two penalties given for this guy right here. Only one that was deserved, but whatever. And I didn't get a yellow card. A great game for stats. Yeah. I didn't get a yellow card. But anyways, I can't remember. But the craziest game happened just this season with Pacific and Vancouver, 4-4 as well. That had goals galore. And again, the fact that that game ended as a draw was insane to me. But this one, 5-4 at Spruce Meadows, that's a hockey score. Like, there's no reason that there should be 9 goals in a football match. But we were covering it. It was end-to-end stuff. We just felt like anything could happen. Keep in mind, Trills, this was a goal that was disallowed by a great free kick by Ali Musi. Montgomery got in the line of sight of Callum Irving. It was everything. For Klump to score that header, to put his hands like this to the debut, he was subbed on into the match, has to be the biggest one ever. Like, there's just so much to like about this. I also think that it's a crucial 3 points for Calgary. They hop up to 29, and now they go away from Halifax Wanderers and York United at 26. Now you're starting to believe. And when you think about who's going to host the final, and we always talk about where we're going to be at the end of the year, that win starts to be like, oh, is this Calvary season? Are you going to do that? Oh, Moosey's back? Go Tintigny? Oh, Camargo? Wojciechowski scored? Missed the pen, but he scored?
Stop.
Now you're like, are we going to the West Coast? And no one would be happier that happened than Adam Jenkins. Can't wait to be in his hot tub.
Listen, we need to get the invite because dinner plans matter. That's why we need to know where we're going. Dinner plans matter.
We are not asking for permission. I'm getting the address. I'm driving the car. You guys can have your whatever, your little
guys,
drink,
just stop.
And we're headed there.
Stop it. I'm putting up a stop sign right now. Because the final is either going to be in Hamilton or it's going to be in Ottawa because they're not going to be part of the 1-2 game. They're not making up that much ground. They're not making up that much ground.
You just want to eat.
Let's just take it a share, okay? And let's go step by step here. That game was the best Canadian Premier League game that we've ever witnessed for a variety of different reasons. And I'll say this, I don't think it's getting enough pub yet because it was the final game of the weekend. People's heads were kind of still spinning. I think even post-match, Jordan, we are still digesting what happened as we came up on match night, like immediately following the final whistle. But it had everything.
Yeah.
The 2 goals scored in, 3 minutes and like 36 seconds. Bang, bang, and 10 seconds in between. The quickest goals in succession in Canadian Premier League history. The quickest time that there was ever 2 goals scored in CPL history. Then you have upstart Vancouver FC and their absolute stud named Tierno Ba. No one can play this guy now. They roar back into the game. They tied things up at 3 apiece. The Hugo and Bong goal. The double Meg. A double Meg to score a goal. This player on loan from TFC. Vancouver showing some life. Then all of a sudden what happens to Cavalry, they're given a pen. Soft. Was it soft? Was that one soft? I think it was soft. No, that might have been another game. No, regardless of how it was given, Wojciechowski missed another pen against Vancouver. That's how they got knocked out of the Can Champ earlier in the season. And they're trying to punch and scrap and claw away. Then Moosey scores this ridiculous set piece off the post, but offside. Callum Montgomery is offside. And then you're just thinking, my God, this is going to be one of those days where it's just not going to go Cavalry's way. Like it's kind of gone over the last few weeks and then up to a month. Then they score up 4-3. You're like, they got this on lockdown. 90+6, a 17-year-old comes on the field in Fotzing and scores. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can hear it now. Tommy Wheeldon Jr., the referee decisions, blah, blah, blah. He was going to go off about the referee decisions not going his way. And then they ended up scoring the winner through the savior and Dan Klomp. This game had everything. Like, Cavalry hadn't won a game in 4. They had a draw in 3 losses. They couldn't score goals. Then they score 5. They win at the death by the guy who's coming in, who Tommy Wheeldon Jr. likens to as Tom Brady or Liam Gallagher. It's just outrageous. Storylines aplenty, drama to the end. It's what makes the CPL so good, and let's give that game some love.
Trills, ask the question. Do it. Ask it.
Well, here's the question. And you can read head on over to the campl.ca website, article written on it, the other history that was made with the amount of goals scored within 3 minutes, like already setting CPL record. So you're right. Goals, how they were scored, the drama in between. And the fact that I will put my hand up, I was very nervous for Dan Klomp's return because of how much we were also making of his absence. We could not say Cavalry struggles without saying because Klomp is not with them. And then the second he became available and we're like, here he is coming back, I thought, oh no, is too much being put on his shoulders. And then he goes and does what he does in that 90 plus 7th minute. But here's the big question. With him returning, and obviously Cavalry stumbling a little bit, which is crazy to say because they are in third, but they're 10 points back of Atletico Ottawa for second spot. Do you actually think, though, now that he can help them turn things around? And is that number 2 spot in the power rankings up for grabs? Wheels already gave us his answer. He's still saying it's going to be between Hamilton and Ottawa. But Jordan, I want to know if you agree or disagree.
So your question, you said, will he help? He'll absolutely help. Well, will it be enough? Very tough to say. I would say no. Because when you look at it, 9 games left. You have Atletico Ottawa at TD Place. You have to play them away twice. And you have to play Forge at home twice. Those are games where you look at primarily in the league. You're like, okay, take a draw, take a point. They have to win those now. They have to win. 75% of them, they have to win. They still got to play York. You still got to play Halifax Wanderers as well. But when you look at the top of the table, the people that you're trying to catch, you have to beat them. I think they have the squad to do it. But when you look at the chemistry and the way that they haven't really scored goals, obviously now that's changed with the 5 that they scored then. It's just what type of cavalry are you going to see? When Tommy Wheeldon Jr. comes out and he speaks about his team and that they haven't been scoring and they haven't been as efficient going forward, I mean, I would counter that and say we're heading into, this is Calgary's time of the season where they just glide into playoffs. They've done it the past 2 years. Can they get that form? Basically what I'm trying to say, they don't have wiggle room. They have to make sure that this weekend when they play Atletico Ottawa, they get 3 points. You can't just play well and draw. They have to win the series, as Tommy Wheeldon Jr. keeps reminding us. And I think they have the squad to do it. But we'll just see what happens over the next 2 months.
Right. There's 2 different answers here. They're not going to host the North Star Cup final because they're not going to be in the 1-2. They're just not. They're 10 points back at Atletico Ottawa with 9 games to go. They are 14 points back of Forge. They ain't catching them. Then you look at Cavalry's schedule. They travel to Ottawa twice, including this weekend, which that is going to be a spicy affair. And they play Forge twice at home, and they have to go on the road back to Ontario to take on York United. All 5 of those games, they're not going to sweep those games. They're just not. But I will say this, bringing Dan Klomp back into this team alongside the addition of Intigne and Salouf, I think they should be considered the second best team in the Canadian Premier League. So if there were power rankings, they should be fit. They should be considered a better team than Atletico Ottawa. Forge right now, they need to be on high alert. I think Forge losing their backup number 9 in Filion. They need some insurance behind Brian Wright before the window closes. I'd expect Bobby Smirniotis to get that done. Brought another Greek midfielder this window. But Forge, they are just so good no matter what, and I just can't see them losing a game. But we saw this Cavalry team with Dan Klomp beat them twice in the playoffs last year. Cavalry now need to show that they're willing to pick things up, ride some momentum from Klomp arriving, the big win on the weekend, and put a little bit of a run together. Because for whatever reason, they've been kind of stuck in second gear, and they've just been kind of doing enough to be good, but not good enough to be great. Now it's time to turn things up. And I'm sure that that's Tommy Wheeldon Jr.'s challenge to this team. Don't go on and expect just to be good. Like, we can be great here down the stretch, and we'll see if they can. I think on paper, Andy, number 2 in the Canadian Premier League behind Forge.
Look, you can't just drop them quickly like that. It's still Atletico Ottawa, but to Wheels' point,
stylistically.
No, but to Wheels' point, it's Atletico Ottawa, the disrespect they're getting for the way that they've played. Forge is the best team, and I've said it consistently. Atletico Ottawa are right there. But Calvary, you would not want to play them in the playoffs if I'm Atletico Ottawa. So Calvary have the Calvary to go in and really disrupt things specifically at TD Place. So If they're finished number 3, that semifinal game is going to be a spicy one between Atletico Ottawa and Calgary.
Either way, the heat is on because we know that battle is still going on between Forge and Atletico Ottawa for top spot. And with Cavalry sitting at 29 points, York and the Wanderers right now nipping at their heels with 26 points. So this is a fun battle for playoff positioning.